Hello, everybody. Welcome to a Tuesday stream. Not as catchy as my Wednesday comics stream, but it was great hanging out with you guys all in the premiere of that latest closer look video that I just did. I worked on that yesterday. I actually filmed it yesterday, edited it yesterday, and uploaded it all yesterday because I kind of hit one of those things where you start working on something and then you hit momentum and you just go with it. So it was a little bit of a long day, but I was really glad to get that out, and it was cool to see you guys' reaction to this book, Uncanny X-Men #1. What did you guys think? Pretty interesting, right? Like I'd mentioned and summarized at the end of that video, I'm picking up issue 2. I think that the writing's got me in. It's got me committed to give it another issue. The artwork's good, and other than like the many things that I can nitpick about storytelling in it, overall it's a great looking book. And so like the colors are great, the drawings are great. So yeah, it was cool. As long as they don't do any more kind of eye confusion. I talked a lot about that in the recorded video, the closer look video, but I got so confused with the eye, the third eye, and the whole thing. I don't know if they set up any of that earlier in previous issues. I have no idea. I'm just coming in cold, not having picked up an X-Men book in a long time. So it was good. I feel like, just to summarize, I feel like I did come home a little bit. It was a familiar territory, and the characters that I wanted to see were there. There was those new characters like Horse Girl and totally indifferent dude that showed up at the end. I don't know if I'll really like them. It's going to take a lot for me to be convinced that they are cool characters, but I for sure will give it a chance because I think Gail Simone, the writer, got the main characters, Rogue, Wolverine, Gambit, and side story with Nightcrawler. I think she got them spot on. So I'm excited. I'm excited that they're doing something good in this book. It's a little different than the non-uncanny version, just the plain X-Men book. Yeah, this one. I just finished reading issue 2 of this, and they have, I believe issue 3 is coming out this week. I think tomorrow, possibly. So I'll find out. Totally different feel. This one's written by Jed McKay, artwork by Ryan Stegman. The writing's different, the artwork's totally different, and it has a very, very different feel. So it'll be interesting to see how they bring those two worlds together, because they're all happening, from my understanding, in the same timeline. And I'm assuming all of these writers and artists are collaborating and working together, but it is a very, very different feel. Not that you want the two books to feel exactly the same, but you do need to have some sort of continuity, or congruency, I should say. So it makes sense that they exist in the same world. I won't do a closer look review on the plain X-Men book, this one, because why not? Because it's not got me as hooked as the Uncanny X-Men one, and it's dealing with a lot of plot lines. I might have mentioned this or talked about this with you guys in previous streams, but it's dealing with a lot of timelines that I'm not familiar with. And so that entry point for me is like, well, I don't know who this kid, whatever his name is, Kid Omega is. I don't know who this girl Temper is. And right now the artwork is what's keeping me in this series. It's moving pretty fast. And it's more self-contained what's going on in this. So yeah, I'll look through issue 3. Issue 2 was kind of like issue 1 a little bit. I'll look through issue 3, might probably pick it up, but I'm not like jumping to find out what happens next necessarily. But anyway, it was great seeing you guys all in that chat, in that premiere. I haven't done a premiere in a long time, and I haven't actually done a closer look video in a long time, so it was fun. It was because I've been focusing so long or so much on the live streams lately. Doing those recorded videos is a whole different mindset. It's a whole different setup. Even though it might look similar, the setup's different. You have to deal with editing, me talking to the camera and kind of, saying what I want to say. It's less impromptu, obviously. And I don't have the chat to interact with, so I'm just talking to myself a little bit. So it's a little bit of a different mindset, and that's why I haven't done one recently. But I see the value in it, just being able to focus on a book and talk about it, share about it without having to worry about the chat. Because not worry about the chat, but manage the chat. It's good. It frees your brain just to focus on the book and talking about what you talk about. So, but hey, I love me my chat. Geez, chat. Why are you always doing that? Why are you always resetting on me? I gotta research that more, Ecamm. But I love me my chat. I love you guys coming in here and joining in. Comrade Sammy, first in chat. She snuck in. Everybody was focused on the premiere video. She snuck in, said, hey, I had to be first in chat. But actually, Adam was first in chat on the premiere. So I'll give you guys a double shout out at the end of the stream. Adam, you are on my list of getting a sound effect. I would have worked on it if I didn't work on the closer look video. So apologies, but you're on my list, my friend. I appreciate all your input, all your commentary, all your conversation about the comics that I'm looking at. So it's great to have you here. And this guy also, Art and Times Jay Ryan, you are also on my list. What is all this then? I don't know, Jay. We're just trying to fill the week with comic talk as much as we can. Definitely will probably be streaming tomorrow, as I do on Wednesdays, but I finished this video, wanted to premiere it. I thought, ooh, should I premiere it on Wednesday? Then I had that package come in, the one that I'm going to unbox in a little bit here. So I was like, ooh, can I do a premiere, unboxing, and a Wednesday comics? Got to be too much. So that's why I pushed it out, or pushed it earlier to today, to do the premiere and the unboxing, just to spread it out a little bit. Because tomorrow, I'm also going to want to talk about the next master study I'm going to be. So much stuff going on. Unboxings, premieres, my Wednesday comics, master studies. It's a lot. So yeah, I had to start a little bit earlier, had some time today, and that's why we're here. Mr. Monkey Boy, he was straddling both. More waiting than a lion in a Texas barbecue joint here for this stream to start. It's good to see you, man. Oh, Mr. Monkey Boy, what am I doing?
How do you say monkey in French?
Emo Trash is here. She's been catfished again. The derailer was derailed, jumping between the two streams. What the heck? That's okay. You're welcome in both. It is a little confusing. Katie's here. What's up, Katie?
Say cup of tea.
Cup of tea.
No. A cup of tea.
Katie all the way from the UK. How are you doing, Katie? If you are hanging around today, I'm just looking at some highlighted chats right now. I'll go back to the main chat, which I'm sure I'm behind. I just got ribbed by Shelby the other day. I was on his stream and he was saying like, I'm too slow catching up with chat, which I am. So sorry, everybody. That's how it goes. There's too many good people in here that are just commenting and talking. I love it. But Katie, if you are hanging around a bit, let me know. I could show you literally live on stream how I do the closed captioning. So yeah, just let me know. And the closed captioning, as always, is for this man, Mark's Music Obsession. What's up, MMO? It's actually for MMO's mom, but you know what? We do it. We cater. We serve our audience here. So good to see you, Mark. Glad you're here. All right, let me make sure. Emo Trash says the timing worked out perfectly. I'm just working on a sketch right now. She came back from class, a lecture on design. I hope that was good. I know so much of art school for me was going to lectures or critiques, right? Where you kind of learn how do you look at a piece of artwork and discern, comment on it. Sometimes, and you'll find this, so here's my 10 cents of advice for you, Emo. You'll find art school kind of gears you towards trying to critique things all the time. You just get in this mode of critiquing, and you find a lot of people can just BS their way through critiques, even if they're not prepared. They can just find something to talk about. And it does train your mindset to overanalyze art sometimes. Shant and I have had many conversations about this, that it kind of handicaps you a little bit as an artist, because so much of art is just creating and have the freedom to create. And yeah, you want to look at it with a critical eye, but if that overtakes the joy of creation and you think you're important and skilled as an artist just because of how good you can critique, that can derail you, not to use a word that's very common when we talk about emo trash, but that could derail you and really hinder you as an artist. So there's some, again, these conversations I had with Sean, sometimes you have to unlearn a little bit of that. It's great to get a critical eye. It's important to hear how you can improve as an artist and take the feedback, develop that thick skin. But at the end of the day, sometimes you just gotta draw, just execute, because it's about putting in the time, putting in the grind, and fighting with the craft and learning the craft and practicing the craft and exercising those muscles, as opposed to just getting all in here. Because getting up all in here does not help this. Trust me, I am a living example of that. Mark's Music Obsession just finished 4.5 hours of landscape work today, and it's 90 degrees with a whole holy moly. I think that means it's time to get on that boat, Mark. Time to get on that boat and catch a breeze, because that sounds brutal. That sounds brutal. But hopefully you accomplished what you needed to accomplish. Not Horse Girl. X-Horse needs to be his own thing. Yeah, that character at the end of that issue of Uncanny X-Men 1. I don't know. You got to make it interesting, because right now the way you're presenting it does not seem very interesting. Maybe that's just a human who gave everybody a ride on their horse to end up in that last image. But I feel like there's artists that could make that cool, make that exciting. And that definitely wasn't it, the way that ended. Katie says, I've cooked a ham and some potatoes, just about to eat while watching Mark. Nice. Awesome. Katie's on that UK time zone. So yeah, her schedule is a little different. I'm heading up into lunch, but it'll probably be a late lunch for me today anyway. So I don't know. Talking about ham and potatoes. That sounds very British, and that sounds also very yummy. John, what's up, John?
He goes, what's your name? He goes, John.
How are you doing, John? Good to see you. John, remember the days back yonder when you were the first in chat all the time? What's going on, man? Is Gothic streaming right now? Is somebody else streaming right now? What's going on, John? Hope you're well. Glad to see you. Katie just said, I just sent you an email of the doodle I'm working on. To me? Or to Mark, maybe? Maybe Mark, because I know you guys have communicated and you sent him a print or whatever, but that's cool. Awesome. Working on a new doodle. Love it. Ham. Yes, definitely ham. Yes, it's for Mark. Okay, gotcha. Sorry, didn't mean to insert myself into your conversation. I always feel like, hey, guys. My kids say I have like a FOMO when it comes to conversations. I'll walk into a room and I'm like, what are you guys talking about? What's it? And most of the time I'm late to the conversation. So yeah. I'm not there to derail. It's a mess. I know, Rocky. How dare you assume I'm the one to be managed? I'm not assuming that at all, emo trash. I'm not. It's all up here. It's all up here. Don't get in here. Get it out here on paper. Okay? That's my advice. Okay. 95 freaking degrees here. Okay, I'm gonna depress you guys, both you and Mark. What is the temperature right now? It is actually warm here, but 66 degrees, guys. I'm a good 30 degrees cooler than you guys are. So come visit. Come visit. It's very nice here. It's starting to get the beautiful fall weather. Usually summers when everybody's enjoying summer. It's super foggy here, super cold. Not super cold, but cooler. But when it comes to moving into the fall season, we get very beautiful weather here. So mid 60s, it's kind of how it's going to be for the next few months. Cup of tea, that's right. Caffeine time, John. Sounds like Rocky's talking about perspective. His anyway. Oof. Those fighting words there, John. There's fighting words. Mom says hello to all in the chat. Oh my gosh. Siri, nobody was talking to you. Mark's Music Session says, Mom says hello to all in the chat. Thank you, Rocky, for the CC consideration. You are welcome, Mark's Music Obsessions. Mom, our pleasure. Art and Times of J. Ryan says, I gave my unasked for critique on the Absolute Batman logo. Did you really? Okay. I could go look because I'm very curious to see what. Okay, I'm going to go look. Art and Times, J. Ryan. Because I'm curious to say there's all these images that have come out where it's been revealed that that is actually a working axe on his chest. Ah, here we go. Sure. Okay, wait. I'm just reading it out. Yes. So you know, this is awesome. Art and Times of J. Ryan. I love it. I love drawovers like you've done. People check out Art and Times of J. Ryan's X account. At the J. Ryan is his handle. He has a post up there about Absolute Batman's logo. So the logo is this blocky son of a gun on his chest. It's pretty much a rectangle with little tick marks for where the wings and the ears would be. So a lot of people are talking about it, but I don't know if you saw, Jay, the behind the scenes sketches that Nick Dragotta, who's the artist on it, did. And apparently it's like an axe or a hatchet of some sort that comes off his chest and he's swinging it around. So totally destroys any ideas or preconceived notions that we have of Batman's logo. But it's kind of cool. It's a little bad, you know what I mean? It's kind of cool. In my opinion, I'm like, I really like Nick Dragotta's work. I discovered his work on East of West, and he does not hold back any punches. I feel like he's just full throttle all the time, and it feels like he's doing that on this Batman book. It's getting a lot of attention, and I remember when I brought it up on stream here, and I was asking you guys, we were joking around because he looked like thick Batman, which he is. But it's totally getting a lot of attention, getting a lot of reaction, both good and bad, from fans about Batman. But I kind of love it, so I'm very excited about that book. I haven't been that excited about a Batman book since Rafael Grampa's book, which has been late. He put out 2 issues, and then I think the 3rd issue is supposed to come out sometime in September, maybe October. The cover looks incredible in that one. Rafael Grampa's book is called Gargoyle of Gotham. So yeah, and it's been amazing. It's a really amazing book, a really amazing interpretation of Batman. But this Nick Dragotta one has got me as excited. So we shall see. Katie says, okay, I'm paying attention now. Can you start again, Rocky? Yes. Okay, give me 1 second, Katie. Let me catch up in the chat, and then I'll do a quick screen share here and show you where I do the closed captioning. Yes. Okay, cool. I will, for sure. Hang on 1 second. Okay. Kind of noticing the emphasis on critique. It's the bane of my existence as they try to force me to talk to people about their art then when it's my opinion that it ain't none of my business. Yeah, like when you... Yes. Yes. When that when it's expected of you to find something to talk about in somebody's artwork, you will find something to talk about. For sure. I could look at anybody's artwork, anybody who I think is like the greatest comic book artist of all time. And if you said you need to critique this, I can make up something. And I don't know if that's a good skill, but I can do it. So when you train and you're in school and you train for 4 years doing that, it's good to have a critical eye, but then you just start seeing all the things that are wrong all the time or that you think are wrong from your perspective, and you feel like you have to voice it. And then the scary thing with that is that eyeball is turned on the inside towards your stuff. And I found for me, that hinders me because I can find all sorts of things that are wrong with my artwork all the time. And then it stops me from doing it, or I'll second guess myself. Maybe that's just me, but I'll second guess myself. And then you don't do it. You don't produce the art and you miss that chance, that opportunity. So just be wary. It is antisocial introvert too. Yes, we have bat cow. I want X. I want X horse. That's awesome. X ham maybe. All right. Let's see. Yes. Yes. I know it is public, but sometimes I feel like I don't know. Again, I feel like I'm like inserting myself into the conversation, and I shouldn't. Sir, that is not warm. 66 degrees. That is damn pleasant. 96 degrees. Where are you guys all living? Are you guys all living in hell? Like, what the heck? Why is everybody above 90? Come over here. Come over here, NorCal. I mean, it gets hot in certain locations, but I can get on a rant. Speaking of critiquing whatever, I can get on a rant and poo-poo the city I live in. But when you get a beautiful day, all that kind of melts away, and you're like, okay, that's why I'm here, because it's really beautiful. Like yesterday, I went out for a bike ride because I didn't want to, but it was just so beautiful. I was like, I gotta get outside and just experience this. I'll just hang out in the redwoods. The redwoods are nice. They're at least, I would say, like whatever the temperature is, I'm in. Redwoods, when you go in, like Muir Woods, which isn't too far here, which they filmed some of Return of the Jedi in, actually, the indoor scenes there. It's at least probably 7 to 10 degrees cooler inside the redwoods because there's so much shade. It's really nice. I live in Illinois, so it's stupid hot all summer, but cold all winter. Oh, I see. Yeah, I don't get out to that part of the country that often. I've heard amazing things about Chicago. I want to go visit there. But yeah, I hear the weather can be rough. Rocky Emo and I were talking about perspective, 1 point, 2 point, maybe 3 point, just a tag along joke. Gotcha. Could still be a working axe and look like a bat symbol. It's true. I feel like the thick rectangle, though, goes with his thighs. Matches his thighs. So, yeah. I think he's a construction worker, too, if I'm not mistaken, from reading bits of it. So I think they're just, like, leaning into that and trying to ruffle a few little bat wings there in the process. I think the book looks interesting, Art and Times J. Ryan says, but at the end of the day, it's a huge IP and the logo looks like a black rectangle from any distance. Yes. Agreed. One of the variant covers you can get on that book is the logo, I think like on a foil cover. And I was like, oh, cool. But then when I saw it, I'm like, oh, it's just a thick black rectangle with little tiny triangles on it. So I was like, nah, I don't want that. I want to get Batman on it. So that that proves your point right there, Art and Times of J. Ryan. Because, you know, the actual original Bat logo, when that movie came out, the Tim Burton movie, Michael Keaton, that logo was like everything and anything I can get that on t-shirts, whatever, folders, mugs, anything was amazing. So that goes to the power of that logo. So yeah, I don't think the rectangle thick Batman's logo is as powerful. Very true. All right, let's see. The ability to critique anything anytime is an Asian trait, isn't it? You could say that. Yeah, you could say that. I've lived that, for sure. Why you no doctor? Why you Asian? I thought one of my favorite memes, I've sent this to Sean numerous times, is you are not a Bijan, you're an Asian. So yeah, that kind of summarizes it right there. Also, I have my glasses on this time, by the way, if you couldn't already tell. Having some problems last stream, I do remember. Or was that Sean's stream? I can't remember. I know you were like, I can't see anything. The coldest winter I ever spent was summer in San Francisco. Is that a real quote? Mark's Music Essential? That's hilarious. That makes sense. But that is hilarious. When Shant was streaming Sunday, I didn't have my glasses. Okay, cool. Yes, that's right. That's right. You were coloring your hair. Got you. Getting ready for the school year. Choose to be done with this sketch. All right. Where I used to live went from crazy cold to insanely hot, way too far in both extremes for one location. Changes so fast there, your body can never really acclimate. Yeah, I feel like we go through a lot of climate changes in a day. Somebody once told me living in San Francisco is like living through 4 seasons in one day. But yeah, I don't think they are as extreme. It's kind of like sweater weather, then you take it off, short sleeve weather, and kind of everything in between. But it isn't so extreme where it's like super hot and super cold. Once in a blue moon, you'll get that, but it's pretty mild in the middle. All right, cool. Let me do this thing for Katie. While we have her, let me just make sure I'm set up for it. So if you guys will give me a second here. I want to make sure that I even can be set up to do this or show you, Katie. Oh, I wonder, can I do primary eCam live? Oh, yes. Oh, no. Current application. So go here, YouTube, and here we can go to this stream. Ah, yes. Okay, cool. Let's do this, Katie. Okay, one more thing. View. Just to make sure nothing crazy is showing up. All right, I will use this example, Katie, for I will use just the stream for an example of what to show you. So Safari. Okay. So let me publish. Is that everything? Just want to make sure I'm not going to blow up anything when I do this. And then we'll get to the unboxing. All right, I think so. Okay, Katie, here we go. Wait. Publish. Can you see that, Katie? Okay. Can you see that I'm screen? Let me just make sure. Am I screen? Yes. Okay. So what you're seeing right now is this current stream. I'm streaming this stream, if that makes any sense. Katie says, I'm here. Okay, cool. Wow. Getting stream within stream within stream. Okay, so down here, I don't know if you can see. Oh, yeah, I think you can see my mouse, right? Down here is a button called Analytics. So if you click on this button, so this has to happen all before you go live. The way it works for me in eCam is I can schedule a stream and then YouTube, it communicates with YouTube, and then YouTube creates the address or the page for the current stream. So I have a page to go to, even though I'm not live yet, I have a page to go to. So I have these two buttons available, Analytics and Edit Video. You click on Analytics. This is so weird. I'm seeing like multiples of myself into the metaverse. You click on Analytics and it takes you to Studio YouTube here. So this is the studio page or the behind the scenes production page. I don't even know what you want to call it. It's the analytics page that's like tracking everything as we are live. And again, this is before you go live. You can't do this when you're live already, and I'll show you. So this tab here, Stream Settings, is where you go to. And if you scroll down, you see it says Closed Captioning down here. Closed caption, I can't do it because we're live already, but this little thing needs to be toggled on for closed captioning. So I just have to remember before I go live to go to this page and go to this tab and click this on before I hit go live. Because if I don't and I go live already, I can't alter it. It's already like locked once you hit go live. And so that's it. So yeah, I just always have to remember to do that before each stream. Once you do that, you go live, it works, or it has worked for us before. So there you go. That's it. I hope you saw that. Let me know if that makes sense, Katie. So let me just make sure. Did I publish? Going back. All right. Yeah. This is freaking me out. This is back to live mode. Okay. So yeah, let me make sure that if that makes sense to you, Katie, I can do that again if not, but that's pretty much it. It's pretty simple as long as you click that thing over. Inception, totally. It's like YouTube Inception. Too many groomsmen melting down. That's the same in StreamYard. Okay, cool. Yeah, hopefully that helps, Katie. Go back and watch it. If it doesn't, let me know. We can try and figure out if I can explain it even better, but I should do it for you. What's up, Shelby? American Discord is here. Did AI hack Rocky? Not quite. I was just showing how to do closed captioning, all the behind the scenes stuff that nobody really cares except people who stream. So hopefully that was helpful for everybody. I got to show Shant that too. I don't think Shant's here, but I have to show that to him as well. All right, out of here for now. Choose, Comrade Sammy. See you later, Comrade Sammy. One more for the road. Have a good day. We think it was Gary. We are looking into it now. Shelby. Hello, American Discord. Can you tell a brother to stop being a turd, please? You know, Dave Grohl. Thank you. I will do that for my stream tomorrow. Hopefully I'll remember. Yeah, that's the hardest thing for me on that function is to remember to do it. And I have forgotten. Mark can attest to that. Awesome. John, lots of movies and TV series have been based on Fort Smith. A national park there has a famous courthouse of Judge Parker known as the Hanging Judge. They still have the gallows. Wow. That's surprising. In this day and age, they still keep gallows? Holy moly. All right, cool. So what we can do now is we can get to this unboxing of this random thing that I have. I hope it's not anticlimactic. I was talking with Mr. Monkey Boy earlier in the chat. He said it could be sourdough, could be, in which case it wouldn't be that exciting for you all. But I think it's a book. It's definitely, if it's a book, it's an indie book that I've backed that I don't know that much about. So you guys will be discovering it at the same time I will. Excuse me. Timestamp it and clip it out. Good idea, John. I will do that after this stream is over. That is a good idea because it'll be great to just reference it. Maybe I'll make one of those like YouTube tutorial videos out of it and go and have my face on it. Like, don't know how to turn on CC, and then I'll get like 1,000 views on it. So, the unfortunate thing or fortunate thing with I need to change this blade because it's not very sharp and it will kill me trying to hack through plastic with it. The unfortunate and fortunate thing of backing books through crowdfunding is sometimes you don't remember when or where you back something. Oh. And then it comes and you're like, did I back that? So here comes the sourdough bread. I'd take some sourdough bread in the mail. Art and Times of J. Ryan says. Yes. This is so interesting. This is the book I thought it was, but I don't really know much about it. Okay. This is called Two Mistakes Too Many by an artist named Naseer Pasha. I might have to go back and look at my bookmarks and watch history to remember the link to this. I will do that in a second, but check this out, guys. This so interesting. I'm glad that I can unbox this live. I'm just getting my ruler here because this is not by any stretch of imagination a standard size for a comic book. Here's a regular comic book. This is the size of that book. So it's smaller. Usually the stuff I get in the mail is bigger than comic book size. Let me go full screen here. And is that focused? Let me make sure that is focused. That's better. So yeah, it's smaller than normal size or comic size, but it's hardbound and it's really thick. Got a little dinged here. That's okay. But it's like a book you put on your bookshelf. Woo! Cool. And a trading card just came flying out at me. Ultimate Edition, a graphic novel trilogy by Naseer Pasha. So, yes, Two Mistakes Too Moony. That's what it's called. I thought it was Midnight Order. Boo! What's Midnight Order? Did I miss that? John says, Rocky, they have this fancy new invention called scissors. Less likely to cut yourself on stream. It's true. It's true. Maybe I'll look into that. Wow, this is cool. Little insert here. Very tiny type. Thank goodness I don't need readers yet. Why is the type? This type looks like it must be 3-point. It's really tiny, guys. Maybe 4-point. It says, I hope this book makes the perfect Friday night read for you. Nope, it's gonna be a Tuesday night read, dude. And though I have through the campaign, I'd like to say thank you once again, helping transform the tale into its ultimate form. I'd be honored for it to collect dust on your bookshelf, as all treasures do. And then he gives a website. In about 2 months, should you believe it's worthy of recommending to your mates. This special print was made only for the kind of backers of this project, as well as the frosted bookmark through the cutting is a bit fuzzy here and there. I hope it still does its job. Holding your page. All the best, Naseer Pasha. This is pretty cool. Cool little print here. If I recall correctly, this guy is like a animator / storyboard artist who makes YouTube videos. I'm pretty sure. I can't remember, actually. I'll have to look it up. I'll look it up in a second. But he put together this book, and I remember looking at it going, wow, holy cow. I think he's been doing this for a while, but wow, he's writing a lot here. Started this book in 2011 and finished it in 2017. This is the Ultimate Edition. Contains volume 1, 2, and 3. Here's his artwork. Pretty cool. It's got a manga style to it. And this is, you can tell this is early on in his development. I'm just going to jump forward here because if he started this in 2011 and progressed to 2017, I'm sure his artwork is going to progress as well. That's cool. It's a lot of language. It's a cool format. The paper quality is nice. I don't know anything about this story. I have no idea why I back this. As far as like, I don't remember it. I don't remember backing this. I'm going to have to look up his website after I flip through it. But it's cool. It's just cool to see him. Oh, and he's just inserting these little things here and there. Just put together his whole like work of the last 5-10 years. I will say his artwork feels a little underdeveloped, this earlier stuff, compared to what I thought I was backing. So we'll see. I'm pretty sure I was really impressed by his later work and his current work. So this must be a series that he did earlier on. But it's still cool. I mean, geez Louise, putting together all this work. I like it. It's not bad art at all. It's just, you can tell that he's young in his development. If I'm not mistaken, though, he's got a lot of followers and super talented. And this was just kind of his part of his journey into getting to where he is. Seems like classic manga-inspired fighting action sequences, art style, gray tones. Yeah, it's got a bebop / samurai champloo style. Let's see, what are you guys saying here? We're talking about the gallows, Bablet, bande dessinée. Fort Smith is around 100,000 population now, 175,000 in the county. I was the county facilities administrator working under the. Oh, okay. Wow. Maybe she went to go work on those shelves. That looks nice. I like the layout, nice and easy to read. Yeah, it's nice. There is something about this size that I like. It's not a typical manga style either. I can't even pinpoint what the size is. Oh, that's why I got the ruler. Let me use his bookmark to mark my page. So this is 7 by 8 3/4. 7 by 8 3/4. And it feels, I mean, it's put together like a novel, a book. So yeah, this is cool. It's like you don't feel worried about breaking the spine or for something this thick. I think because it's so thick, it lends itself to having this kind of binding on it. Couldn't have been cheap for this binding. There's some cool battle scenes. This is a lot of work. Yeah, definitely has a samurai champloo, cowboy bebop influence here. That's cool. This reminds me too of, have you guys seen Afro Samurai? That graphic novel? The artist who drew that, this reminds me of his style. I guess maybe just because it's black and white too. I've been looking at a lot of black and white stuff too recently, partially because of the master studies I'm doing, also because I favor black and white stuff and that indie book look. And so this totally ties into that I'm into right now. I'll actually show you guys, totally random, I'll show you guys an issue of Caliber Presents. Caliber was a independent comic publisher way back in the 90s, probably 80s as well. And it was, I believe it's the publisher that The Crow first published under. Tim Vigil, who has done a book called Grips and Faust, which is very, very X-rated, but incredibly well drawn. I don't pick up Faust. It's a little too X-rated for me, but the quality artwork in it is amazing. Tim Vigil is just a great artist. He's one of those artists that has all the talent, and he just decided to do really mature X-rated content. And so I feel like it limited his audience a little bit, but that's what he loves to do. I know Sean's a huge Tim Vigil fan. He was actually the one who exposed me to his work. Sean was the one who was trying to destroy me with Tim Vigil stuff. But I do have a book. Yeah, I'll pull that out too. Maybe we're going to talk a little bit of black and white indie today, guys. That's great. It's a great segue. From Two Mistakes, Too Many. You can already see his artwork is refining a little bit here towards the end. That's cool. Coffee Gone. I'd love more hardback manga. Yeah, that's true, huh? I mean, I have the only manga I have that's hardback. I don't have that much manga, to be honest. The other manga that I have that is hardback is the Nausicaá set. Do you have that, Adam? Whew, that is one of my favorites. The other cool thing is that he printed it backwards, or the Japanese way of reading stuff, which is right to left and top down. Cool. Little bio. So yeah, I guess he published these originally in 2013 and then 2017. Pretty cool. He did a little thing. They do this in a lot of manga books where they tell you how to read it. So he kind of did his own at the back here. That's smart. Neat. That's cool. That came out of nowhere. I don't even remember when I backed that. So what a pleasant surprise for that to come in. Let me look up his website and see if I can find out more information about the guy. Have you read any Junji Ito? I have not. Junji Ito, correct me if I'm wrong, Katie, does a lot of horror manga. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm definitely more in the fantasy action. Like I said, the Afro Samurai. If you guys have seen, I'll show you a really quick snippet of the Nausicaá. Right behind my head. Needs a heavy bookcase to hold it. Have you guys seen this? Many of you, I'm sure, have seen this. The Nausicaá Miyazaki Studio Ghibli hardbound. This is a beautiful collection. I just realized the angle of my camera. Look how weird that distorts the angle. I'll just show you guys this. If you haven't seen this, this will knock your socks off. So this is the entire Nausicaá series in hardbound, black and white. Beautiful watercolor images he did. But the ink work in this is mind-blowing. How adept and delicate it is, but so epic and beautiful. It's a great story. And just to have it all combined here in one and printed at this kind of high quality. The paper's beautiful. It's a little off-white. The binding is nice. It's just presented in a great format. Yeah, it's epic. Like, to think he did this all single-handedly is ridiculous. Great cross-hatching, and his command of drawing is, it's why he's the master. This is why he's the master. And he was doing animated films, like some of the greatest animated films to ever come out of Japan, this guy. So much appeal in Miyazaki's stuff, so many great concepts, so much influence. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So yeah, this is the only other hardbound manga that I own. I own some other random digests here and there. Like I said, I don't collect that much manga. I'll borrow it and I'll read it, but I don't collect that much. Oh yeah, there's this cool poster that came in. Yeah. It's funny because I don't know if you guys know Miyazaki, but he's always talking about how he's retiring. And he's getting up there. He's like the Disney of Japan. He's getting up there, but he's always talking about how he's going to retire. And but then he's like, oh, well, I'm going to do one more film. And there's a bunch of great documentaries about his studio and how he works. Half the time, I don't think he actually has the whole story figured out for the films. They just start production and he kind of figures it out as he goes. It's bananas. The only hardback manga I actually own is Berserk. Oh, that's a cool one. I've read some of that. I haven't read that whole series, but that's a cool one. That one's worth having in hardback. And when you see how much manga is in hardback because those guys just crank out that work, it's pretty mind-blowing. I think there's like, I don't know how many volumes of Berserk is out there. At least 20, I think. It's pretty crazy. Trying to read Berserk right now, Katie says, but I'm finding it too messing and hard to read. Really? Huh. Yeah, I mean, that artwork, that style is pretty intense. There's Berserk, and then what was that other one? Fist of the North Star is another good one. Talk about intense artwork. Mark's telling us about the hard work he was doing at his job. Messy, yep, got it. Naseer worked on Return of the I'm not surprised. Okay, you jumped ahead. Not jumped ahead, but did my job for me. Okay, I can't tell. Am I in preview mode? I think so. Okay. Ecamm needs to fix this. Let me just look him up, and then we can look together. Naseer Pasha. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I got interested in his stuff based on his animated work. And let's see. Here it is. Here's the Kickstarter. Okay, cool. Now publish. Live mode. And yep. So yeah, this was the Kickstarter. Okay, cookies. And so this was the campaign that I backed. Pretty cool. Like, great style. Oh, he's Canadian. And I believe that I found him through, it was either YouTube, maybe Instagram, I don't know. But I remember just seeing videos that he posted. I think it's YouTube. Like, he does these like animated tests or his storyboard tests or just exercises. I'm pretty sure he did all this animation himself here. So really cool, fun stuff, great style, obviously manga influenced. So I backed his campaign and I'm glad I did because it's awesome. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did all this stuff himself, which is very impressive. Here he is, animation, storyboard direction, so IG links. Here's some of his stuff. Yep. It was great. Look at this. Oh, he worked on Mad Finder, which was a Joe Madureira project. No kidding. Joaquim dos Santos, he says here in his description, bless JDS_77. That's Joaquim dos Santos. He is one of the most incredible American action directors in animation ever. He was one of the co-directors on the second Spider-Verse, but I remember seeing his work early on for, he did a, he directed like a G.I. Joe miniseries, which was the battle between Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow was unbelievable. He was one of the showrunners on the new Voltron series. He's a monster, that guy, Joaquim dos Santos. So if this guy was working under Joaquim dos Santos, that's pretty cool. Here he is. This is the artist.
You all know that from May 12th to 14th, I and a few guests will be attending this year's 2023 KamehaCon. And you might have guessed by its name, it is a convention dedicated to celebrating all things Dragon Ball. My kind of place. Join me, along with Jordan Woolen, Elsie Lovelock, and Jason Sukram in a weekend of awesomeness. At the show, there will be a special screening of Legend of Dragon Ball Tale and a panel hosted by me and the gents.
Yeah, he looks like an anime character. That's hilarious. Cool. Nice. Neat stuff. Totally not your average fare, but it's cool that you can get some of this kind of stuff through backing independent creators, and I'm all for supporting people that are doing cool stuff and producing it on their own. There is, I have talked about this creator before many times, Declan Shalvey, and he is straddling this amazing line. I'm subscribed to his newsletter. It's called Declarations, I believe. Just got a new one today, actually. And he straddles this amazing line of working on mainstream stuff and his own independent stuff as well. So he, right now, one of the big things that he's working on several big things. He's the writer on Thundercats, but he is a great artist himself, one of my favorite current artists. And one of the books that he is both writing and drawing that's coming up is a limited series for Mystique, the X-Men character Mystique. So I'm very, very excited about that. I think it's 5 issues. He's both writing and drawing that. He's also writing a new Terminator series that's coming out, still writing Thundercats. And then he's working on his independent book, Old Dog. So he just did a Kickstarter campaign for that. And then he's producing another anthology book where he's working with other artists. So he's, like I said, straddling both lines. I don't know how he does it. Super busy. But I admire that, and you can just see the grind because he comes out with this newsletter every 2 weeks, and it's just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. He does a lot of covers too for both for Marvel, and I think he's working on a new Moon Knight book because he was discovered really on his interpretation of Moon Knight when that came out. That's where he really exploded on the scene. So anyway, all that being said, like, I admire people that can both earn a living in mainstream comics, but also work on their own stuff and push that. And, oh, this is where I was going with it. So he actually put out a poll both on social media and through his newsletter of, hey, I'm working on whatever, these 4 new projects. Which ones are you guys looking forward to the most? And like, it had big names on it, right? Like Terminator and Thundercats and Mystique. Even he put Mystique out there. But the one that got the most votes was his own work, his creator-owned work. And so he mentioned that in his newsletter. Like, he was kind of surprised by that, but also bolstered his own drive to keep working on his own creations because that's who it's connecting with in his audience. I'm all for that. I'm totally for that independent movement. Okay, let's see. It's damn hard to read his name even without my glasses. He's got a very non-traditional name. Berserk is all about negative emotion. Reading about what can cause those emotions is tough sometimes. Creative minds don't just stop, so I don't know how you could just retire. Yeah, right. I think he just says that because he's old and he gets probably physically tired, but then his creative spirit just cannot quit. So he'll retire, and there's a whole thing. Oh, Miyazaki's retiring. This is his last film. Maybe it's a marketing ploy. I don't know. But then the next announcement the year later is usually Miyazaki's coming out of retirement to direct this last film. And then everybody's like, oh, this is Miyazaki's last film. He's going to retire. And then it's happened at least 3 or 4 times. It's kind of crazy. There's over 40 volumes of Berserk. Okay, so I had it even less than that. So yeah, there's a lot. And they're super thick too. Mark's music obsession, he has his backgrounds in electrical engineering technology. That makes a lot of sense. All right, I think my sugar just dropped. Guess it helps when I actually feed myself. Yes, emo trash, don't get to that hangry level. That's not good for anybody. Listening in the car now, we have to pop up thunderstorm. Maggie's scared to death, so I'm taking her for a drive to calm her down. Oh, that's so cute. Me and Maggie are twins. I'm terrified of thunderstorms too. That's so cute that she needs a drive to calm her down. It's like a kid. Okay, I will. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, I was going to show you guys some of the independent stuff that I can pull out in the vein of this book. So we were talking about a little bit about The Crow last time. I'll pull out this. Caliber Presents. The Crow. Grips. And, oh yeah, I can pull out this one too. I can show you guys a whole bunch of stuff. Whenever I'm writing down like ideas for videos or streams, one of the ideas that I had was to talk about, more independent work. So this is a great segue to get into that. This one I just pulled out recently. Why did I pull this one out? I was on a Crow kick, The Crow, right? We talked about this last time. Love Me, The Crow, one of my favorite independent comics ever. Just the tone of it, the feel of it, the look of it, everything about it is just amazing. The story, the passion that went into it, the backstory, the artist story. I love it. Really changed me as a kid reading comics. So that led me to think about this issue that I have. Randomly picked this up, I think at a dollar store a long time ago when I was a kid. And so there was this independent company, I think in the 80s. Yep. This is May of 1989, called Caliber, that would produce independent books. Most of it was mature content. And I do remember this being on my radar because, if I'm not mistaken, Caliber Presents #1 is where the first Crow story was published, like a short story, the introduction of the Crow. And so that one's really hard to find now because it was the first appearance of the Crow. But I happen to have issue 3, and if you just look at this roster of who is working on it, Barbed Wire, Halo Studios. So I believe this is a name that J.O. Barr, who is the creator of The Crow, I think this was the name of his studio that he published stuff under. Not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it's him. And then Tim Vigil did this short story in here called Cuda, and he worked with an inker named Tim Tyler. The pairing of those two guys is really great. I don't know much about this artist or writer, Randy Zimmerman, but Guy Davis, he's done a lot of work for Mike Mignola. I think he's a British artist. I know he's done a lot of feature film designs as well. And Mark Winfrey, I don't know, does this book called Thrill Kill. All these I'm not too familiar with. Jay Calafor, I know he's done some mainstream work. And then the cover art is by Barbed Wire Halo Studios, which, again, I'm pretty sure this is J.O. Barr. So it's cool. It's kind of cool. I love this like anthology. Dark Horse Presents did this too. They still probably do it, I think, but just like an anthology of different stories. Great to see independent stories. It makes me think of like, oh, that would be cool to do an anthology, whether it's of different stories that I would do or working with other artists would be really cool to do an anthology. I love that it's in black and white. This is J.O. Barr, definitely J.O. Barr artwork. He's using some zipatone here, halftones, which is amazing. And I can tell that it's J.O. Barr because he has this way of drawing faces. The eyes tend to be really wide. Like these kind of wide-eyed characters. That's his signature style. Oh, you can't even see that. Like that. And always wearing like a lot of eyeliner. At least the way that he inks it. But this is some cool stuff. Really cool. Oh, I love that this paper is not anywhere glossy. It's like a newsprint, so it doesn't have any reflections from my overhead lights here. So you guys can see it pretty clearly. But this is some sort of sci-fi war story. And I think... I know it continued over several issues of This Caliber Presents. So I guess they had a whole story and they broke it up in the anthology. A lot of these books, or a lot of these stories are doing it. Here's Tim Vigil's stuff. I'll pull out, I have a Tim Vigil compilation here in a second. I'll pull out too. But you can see Tim Vigil, I know I've mentioned this a few times on my Master Studies streams, but I love brush inking. I just love that as a tool for inking. And Tim Vigil is a brush inker for sure. Well, he's got another guy inking him, Tim Tyler. But that's kind of what he is all about. And he's got a great stylized anatomy that he draws. It's all like really worked out. He's a really, really, really good artist. He just happens to pick very, very adult, mature themes to draw. But to each his own. I've seen some bootleg things that he's done. He's pitched. He created this character called Faust, which is this very demonic, satanic kind of character, hero. I don't know. I haven't read it, but I've seen images from it. And he pitched an idea of like a Crow Faust crossover, and I've seen some bootleg images of that online. He's done like a bootleg Batman story, which was very adult, that never got published, obviously. So, but yeah, I don't think Vigil has ever worked on mainstream books because of the kind of content he produces, but he can draw. He can totally draw. This is Guy Davis stuff, which this doesn't look like Guy Davis at all. I'm assuming this is early in his career. It's fun. Indie stuff, this like raw black and white stuff when artists are just doing whatever the heck they want, non-superhero stuff. It's really fun to see. Yeah, I don't know anything about this. Thrill Kill. It's kind of an interesting style. Muscles. You know, it's hit or miss. There's some hit or miss stuff. I have a bunch. I found like as a kid, this is one of the things I found in my old kids collection. It's crazy drawings here. A lot of really thin hatching pen work. But I don't have them readily available. I'd have to go through my garage and dig them out. But I have some indie books. Dang, I should have pulled them out. If I had known I was going down this track, we'll save it for another stream. I have some other the cheerleaders from hell. If I have some other independent books that I just randomly collected as a kid. I think anything that was a comic I would just buy or get my hands on, I would keep. And so I found some of these independent books recently when I was going through my old collection. And this was one of them, Caliber Presents, but I just have a whole bunch of other random stuff, like Exiles was a book. It was a book called Exiles. I think I was listening to an interview with Jimmy Palmiotti recently, Jimmy Palmiotti was one of the bigwigs at Marvel with Joe Quesada. He was an inker on Joe Quesada and a bunch of other people. He's got a great Twitter X account because he oftentimes posts original art that he owns, just photos of the original art he owns. And he's always talking comics. He's married to an artist named Amanda Connor, who she's a great artist herself. She's done a lot of work for DC. She worked on a lot of Harley Quinn stuff, Power Girl, and Before Watchmen. She did a series in Before Watchmen. Anyway, they're married, comic book couple. Palmiotti got his start working on this book called Exiles, and I have one book. I don't know if he worked on it. I haven't looked on it since I heard the podcast that he was on, Mark Miller's podcast, but it was just cool to hear like him getting his start working on this independent book. So I have that book. I have another book called Bill the Bull, which is kind of crazy, and it feels like The Crow a little bit. It's like, I think it came out after The Crow. It's very violent. It's about this bull detective that lives in a human world. Kind of crazy. But I just love the independent spirit. At that time, it was late 80s, early 90s. And that independent spirit was so different than indie comic creators now. And the ability to get your stuff published now is so readily available compared to then. So it was really interesting to see the path that people take and the kind of books that came out in the indie market back then. And I love it. I have some random one that's like a ninja book. The artwork was horrible in it, but kind of cool. I don't know. All this random stuff. I'll pull it out next time for another stream and go through it because it's worth it. It's really worth it to just see where independent comic books were back then. All right. This is for Tim Vigil. Speaking of Tim Vigil, but let me catch up here because I know Shelby's lurking and he's going to tell me I'm not catching up on chat fast enough because I don't. Grandma made spuds. We love satanic characters, just not satanic people. Fair enough. Emo trash, fair enough. Satan is the great tempter. Yeah. And I've been tempted, but do not purchase that book. It's really too much for me. It's like really graphic on all fronts. But the artwork is very good, but very graphic. But yeah, they've come out with like hardbound versions of it and soft cover versions of it. But I'm just like, I can't. It's too much. It's going to tear away at my soul. Dude, awesome one. What up, my friend? How you doing? Good to see you. It's a bright and sunny day where Awesome One is. Hopefully it's not 90 degrees like where everybody else is. I'm in a nice mid-60s myself. So I love that. I got this on eBay. I love that it's kind of falling apart and like sun damaged. I just love that. It's just so indie to me. It feels like he used a dot matrix printer to print out this type. This was published in 1990. Originally in 85 and 86, these issues came out. But this was a publisher called Greater Mercury Comics. Came out with a bunch of different books, but Tim Vigil was probably the biggest thing to come out of this. I think even Ron Lim, he's worked on a bunch of mainstream books. Ron Lim, that's Shelby's favorite artist. I'll let Shelby talk about Ron Lim. Ron Lim worked on, I knew Ron Lim's work from Silver Surfer in the 90s, but yeah, so I'm pretty sure Ron Lim worked for Greater Mercury at one point, but look at all these books they came out with. And they weren't. This is not cheap for the late 80s. $2, $4. Some of it's $35, $10. Like, I mean, they were saying, hey, we're independent. So Tim Vigil, this is my first exposure to Tim Vigil's work. He did this book called Grips. And Shant was the one who introduced me to Tim Vigil's work. And this book here is just a compilation of... He wasn't the only artist on Grips, but he was the best artist. And this is a compilation of his issues. But it's so indie. Yeah, here. First visual conception drawn by Ron Lim. This is Shelby's favorite. Loves this guy. But look at this. It's so cool. This is Ron Lim's art right here. It just reminds me, is this the time that I should pull out some of my high school comics? Maybe. We'll see. We'll see where we are and how bold I feel or courageous I feel in a little bit. But here's Tim Vigil's work. Very cool. Very cool stuff. You will see some of the influence that he has on Shant's work too, or just the spirit of it. But Vigil, like, not for the faint of heart, but this was such an indie thing. Like, indie artists at that time knew that they couldn't do this in mainstream comic books, and there was no place for this in mainstream comic books. So they embraced it. They embraced violence. They embraced sex and gore and all that kind of stuff. And that was probably part of the appeal of these kind of books. Crow's the same way. For a kid, when you're reading it, you're like, oh my gosh, like, you know, you can't see this in Batman, or you can't see this in, you know, the X-Men, how graphic this is. And it kind of appealed to that adolescence. The vengeance, like, you wanted to see Batman be this vengeful, but they never could really go there. So Grips was kind of the answer to that. Crow was kind of the answer to that, where you have these fantasies of, man, if somebody mugged me, I would do this to them. And you kind of fulfill these fantasies in the characters here. Hopefully not in real life, but that's what Grips really represented. It's like this guy who was a vigilante, but he didn't have the rules that Batman did. He just killed the people that hurt him or hurt people that he cared for. He was kind of psychotic too. So there was no morals that he was wrestling with. He just killed people. Just wrecked them. But he's a pretty cool design. He had this was like Wolverine. He had these Wolverine claws, but just one. They were like sword blades that came out. But he would use them in a way that you kind of wished Wolverine did in the comics. And then not only did he have these blades that like cut people's limbs off, but he would also shoot these things. I guess I should make a little side note that if you are young, I know sometimes my friends let their kids watch this stream. Maybe not. Maybe don't look at the stream. The stream has some adult content in it for sure. There's Grips. Middle fingering, bub. Yeah. Shelby ignores chat all the time. Take his advice with a tablespoon of salt. Yeah. I know. He was totally giving me a hard time though, because I'm trying to be conscientious. I'm trying to be like accommodating to my chat. I always write the hashtag when I'm in his chat. Hashtag Shelby don't care. That's his motto. Do it right now. Emo Trash is saying, do it right now. Am I thinking too much, Emo? Should I pull out my old high school stuff? It's really bad. Anyway, look at this. Is great. Like, yes, he is vulgar and getting slaughtered, but look at that drawing. That's an awesome drawing, and I love it in black and white. Like, Tim Vigil is killing it. Literally and drawing-wise, killing it. Look at these. Really cool. And the brush work on it, it's amazing. Awesome stuff. He's definitely like draws all the like muscles and bones, and that's his thing, his shtick. Great anatomy drawings. Great exaggerated anatomy drawings, I should say. Like he has a command of drawing, but he exaggerates it in his own way, and it's awesome. Even this hand-drawn logo, Gramps. So indie. I love it. It's psycho violence. It's fun. So yeah, this was Tim Vigil stuff. Part of that movement. I mean, can you imagine like having Tim Vigil and J.O. Barr on the same book, same anthology? This is cool. Like, love these different techniques, like hatching, using like hand-drawn lettering. It's like splatter, halftones. It's like lighting here. It's really cool. And Vigil stuff did look different from issue to issue because he'd have different inkers. This one is inked by John Palmer. I like the other inker, Tim Tyler. Let me see if I can show you guys a comparison. I bet you this is Tyler right here. Oh, it just says the trio. I think it was like different guys. But I do remember thinking like, oh, Tim Tyler inks him really well. This guy's getting burned alive. Wow, it's cool. It's like the same feeling, the same appeal watching like the Dirty Harry movies or Quentin Tarantino films. It's that like raw, mature. This is crazy. I don't think this is him. Is this him? No, I don't think this is him. This is a different artist. Is it? Wait, let me see. This looks like a different artist. Kind of crazy. Kind of awesome. That's Grips. We looked at the Crow. Grips is a terrible name for a book. Really? Grips. Just feels like Grips. Okay. Let me see. Hang on. Am I gonna do this? I gotta make sure some of this stuff is mine here. Let's see. So I do have. Okay. Oh man. All right, guys. You get a kick out of this. This is so bad. Okay, I did this book. 1991. Okay, so I am like, I'm the audience for this, right? I'm the audience, and all the like mainstream books and all that, but I'm the audience for this. So this is me. Oh my gosh. I was totally looking at, obviously, Todd McFarlane, just ripping off as much as I can, copying as much as I was doing master studies. Let's say that as a kid. Oh my gosh. 1991. And for some odd reason, I don't know why, I made Spider-Man fight Doc Samson, from probably because the Hulk And Todd McFarlane was working at the Hulk at the time, so I was trying to rip off as much as I can from Todd McFarlane. I believe this is a rip-off of an Eric Larson drawing. And, oh my gosh, I totally forgot. So the writer on this, for those of you who have been with my stream, wait, did we have a, yes. For those of you who have been with me on my stream, go back and look at some of my early streams. I did a couple streams called Super Nostalgia, where I got two of my childhood middle school friends, Atik Patel and Fred Morton, to join me. And there he is. He wrote the story on this. See, I spelled my name R-O-C-K-Y before. But we produced this comic and we photocopied it at like local copy store, and I sold it. How much did I sell this for? 75 cents, people. 75 cents. Look at that. And I would take images. I can talk through I would take images and poses, and if it wasn't Doc Samson being thrown into the wall, say this was a pose of like, I don't know, Wolverine getting thrown into a wall, I would take that pose and then skin it in Doc Samson. So I'm sure if you go through and look at your old comic books, this is definitely an Eric Larson ripoff right here. And I would just piece together these panels and copy the artist that I loved. I love it though. And the dialogue was so bad. This is from a McFarlane. Look at that. I had no idea what anatomy was. I just drew a bunch of lumps because that's what all the artists were doing. I just put muscles on muscles. No idea with anatomy. I still don't have any idea with anatomy. That's why Doc Samson looks different every page, and Spider-Man looks different every page, because I was just copying and skinning it differently. Spider-Man shooting eye beams out of his eyes. Totally crushes Doc Samson. There he is sitting in this. It was just all to get to this point, to sit on this dramatic rock at the top here. And just to mess with, this is my marketing move. I actually never drew part 1 of 3 or part 3 of 3. This is just part 2 of 3. But I thought like, oh, we can go back and set up the story. We didn't know how to set up the story before, so I decided to draw the middle story. Oh my gosh. How's that? There you go, Emo Trash. I just did it. Cherish is here. Is Cherish Psalms here? I don't know. I haven't seen her. Maybe if we said Pookie more? Maybe. Maybe. Are you old enough for those? Is Rocky reviewing anime up in here? No. D's Comics. That's right, baby. That's right, baby. That's exactly why we were trying to think of a name. Like, what comics are you reading? D's Comics. Got it? Yeah, my friend Atik. He was awesome. We had so much fun. That is not bande dessinée. Nope, nowhere near bande dessinée. Meatball knees. We've all drawn them. Not the caked Spider-Man. Nope. Does bande dessinée have lots of sex and nudity like manga anime tends to? It depends. Depends on what you read. I think their view of nudity, sex, even violence is different than here in the States. And I think there's a great history of why comics have focused here in America on superhero comics, because back in the 70s, when the Comics Authority Code was developed, they clamped down hard on anything that was considered mature content. And it forced the comic book creators, and I think it was at the time like eerie comics were coming out, like horror comics were coming out, and westerns, war comics, and they really clamped down on what you were able to show in American comics. The government did. And so all the focus, all the industry pivoted towards superheroes, because it was like, well, superheroes, we can do that. We can show that. That's acceptable. And so that's where American comics market went. But in the meantime, Europe and Japan, they didn't have those restrictions. And so that's why their genres now and what they produce in comics now is so wide. And there's a huge range, can go from kids comics to all the way to adult comics and everywhere in between. And they have a history of that because they've been doing that this whole time. America was really pigeonholed towards superhero comics. Some independent comics here and there. You had the like hippie movement. You had the like R Crumbs come out. All those independents trying to push it a little bit. Rock and roll, drugs, the 70s. But we're really way behind where the rest of the world is because they didn't have those government restrictions. I don't even know if there's a comics authority code still, if that's in play anymore, because comics these days, mainstream comics these days have pushed it more. But I feel like we'll always be behind where Japan is and Europe because of that. So when I found that out, I was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. And goods and bads, right? Goods and bads as far as putting in regulations, but it definitely stifled the market as far as what could be created and what stories could be told in American comics. It can, but usually done tastefully for the most part. Yeah, it's not. It's usually not. I mean, at least I'm sure you could find it, but at least what I've seen, it's not been super like gratuitous necessarily. I mean, there's some crazy artists out there, European artists that go super. I mean, Mobius has done stuff that's been super gratuitous, and I think of Serpieri as another artist, fantastic, phenomenal artist, but he does pretty explicit content. Yeah, there's a lot of European artists that do. So it just, I think the range though is, and it's not so frowned upon as it is here in America. Comic publishers back in the day were the original porn peddlers. So yeah, maybe that's why those restrictions came in. 50s, 60s, 70s still had romance and westerns as huge genres. Yep, that's true. Those kind of died out though, and superheroes took the reins of what comics were considered. Here's another one, an independent book. This reminded me of Two Mistakes Too Many a little bit because this guy, Ryan Lang, he is a powerhouse in the feature animation, feature film industry, I'd say. He's a concept artist. But he produced his own comic book called Issunboshi. And I backed this on, I think it was Kickstarter. I can't remember. But it has since been published, and I see this all over like libraries and like Barnes and Nobles. It's been published by a legit publisher. I just don't know who it is. But this one was the crowdfunded one. But you see his work. He's got such a cinematic style to his artwork. It's a whole black and white book, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of, did you guys ever see that cartoon called The Littles? I used to love that cartoon. But there's these like little tiny people, and in The Littles they had tails, but they were human characters, but they're tiny characters and they lived in the human world. And so this kind of reminds me of this, but it has a Japanese spin on it. Samurai spin on it. But beautiful, sorry, there's a glare. Beautiful artwork. You can see why he's in animated feature films. I mean, these are just screaming out. This is just screaming out to be a feature movie. Great expressions, great lighting. His artwork has just always has had this very cinematic feel. I believe it's Ryan Lang who he did some just fan art of Gargoyles, which is the old animated cartoon that came out in the 90s, super popular. But I guess he's a big fan of Gargoyles, and he did his own version of how he would do Gargoyles now, and they're amazing. But yeah, his stuff is so killer. Basically, we're prudes. Yeah, a little bit compared to the rest of the world. It's mostly because in North America, comics are mostly considered as kids' material, not to be acknowledged as proper work until a film is made based on them. Yep. I mean, even to this day, with all the Marvel movies and the movies based on comics, all that stuff, it's still kind of relegated as like, it's a kid. I mean, kids medium. Like animation is the same way. Animation is for sure. It's just a struggle that the animation industry, the American animation industry, faces of like, it's not just a kid's medium. You can tell very adult, mature stories in it. And so many people have been saying that time and time again when I think it happened in the early 2000s where they created the best animated feature film category in the Oscars. And there was a whole uproar in the animation industry because they're like, why can't it be best film? Why can't they compete in the same category? And so it's always been this, redheaded stepchild of the entertainment industry working in animation in America. Now in Europe and in Asia, specifically Japan, it's not looked at that way at all. As a matter of fact, it's lauded as a higher art form, and these artists are considered like the Michelangelos of their generation, and they're given that kind of respect and credit. Like Miyazaki, like Mobius, like those guys are just like gods in their native countries. And then we have here where we have like Disney and, I don't know, other independent creators here, but it's like, oh yeah, but they do kids films. So yeah, this is a really cool book. I had thought somewhere that he was going to do a colored version as well, but I don't think so. I've only seen the black and white version. This is amazing. So if you had printed it in newsprint, Ryan, wouldn't have this reflection. No, but it's a really good, great production. Love it. You can just see this in a film. I can just see him like having a skull reference and just rotating it and drawing it. Like for somebody who likes life drawing, just come up with a skull character as your main character, and then you can just be life drawing all the whole time. It's cool. Very animated feel to it, but cinematic, more than just a quote unquote cartoon. It's great. Uses a lot of like focus, blur, motion blur, and lighting effects to make it feel more cinematic. Cool stuff. Issunboshi. Oni Press. Was that where it was published? Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Can't spell prudent without prude. No more over-sexualization. No more over-sexualization is not a good answer. No more over-sexualization. Yeah, it's not. It's not. It's not a song. Okay. All right. Let me see. Let me look in my file. See what else I can pull out here. This just cracks me up. This is my file right here. See how official. Let's see what else we got here. I mean, some of these could turn into like, who was I looking at? What was I looking at as a kid? Can you tell I loved Image Comics? This is my like Jay Lee phase. Oh, this was a cool character. Yeah, I might turn that into something current. These are printouts. Look at that. We had like a plot. Look at that. We were serious. Oh, I think this is when I was working on like the next issue. Look at that. More meatball legs. Man, I love Todd McFarlane. Yeah, some unfinished. Oh, cool. I forgot about this. Look, I did a TMNT page. I love this page. That turned out cool. I had a page where I was working on mutant cows, ninja cows. Speaking of our ex-cow. Oh my gosh. Then I got into my colored pencil phase. Look at that. It's kind of like my Grendel phase. Grendel's another one. Oh yeah, Grendel's another one. I ordered a Grendel omnibus recently. That's another independent book that... Let me pull that one out. This book. I really admire Matt Wagner. He has a new book out. I haven't. I'm gonna pick it up, but I'm just gonna wait for it to become a trade and not pick up the individual issues. This is a guy, Matt Wagner. I mean, he's another one who's balanced like working on mainstream stuff and his own independent work. Grendel, such a cool character, and I've seen many interviews with him, and he was just talking about how that anti-hero wasn't popular at the time, and it was really different. I feel like a lot of the idea was birthed out of thinking about Batman, because the first Grendel is Hunter Rose, and he's a really rich guy, but he was not a good guy. He was actually a bad guy. And the enemy of Hunter Rose was like this demon, but it was actually the good demon. So he kind of reversed archetypes. But Grendel was really popular. Again, independent, tapped into that, oh, this is not your parents' superheroes. Like, it's kind of dark, kind of violent, and it was really cool. Really, really stuck with me. And then he did this thing where it's almost like a book prose. This was I can't remember which edition. He's done this a few times, Devil by the Deed, this story a few times. But this is not what you would expect from a typical comic book. Just playing around with these Art Deco-like frames. Love that costume of Grendel. And then all the like writing here. Love the coloring on this too. It was like so different, like airbrush at the time. Produced in this thicker format. This is, I bet, the same size as Nosfero. So can you imagine, like, for those of you who back books like Nosfero, like Shantz Nosfero, it's like looking at this now. This was published in 86 or 88. This is second printing, 88. And we're talking about it now, 36 years. Woo! 36 years later. Oh, speaking of which, look at his profile picture. Huh. Well, 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 Mr. Monkey Boy 1969. So this must tap a little love in your heart here. But so yeah, 36 years later, we're talking about this. Can you imagine? Let me go get his book. Like it's like the same thing, but different. You know, same thing in the sense that like backing an independent book and being there at the beginning of this book. This is the same exact format as Grendel. But how cool is that? It's like this is what Shant is doing. This is what a lot of independent creators are doing. They're trying to be this. But we have so many more resources now for us to produce. Like the quality on this book, you know, the printing quality, the accessibility, and the whole YouTube connection with the audience too is very different than what Matt Wagner had 36 years ago when he was doing Grendel. But same spirit, same independent spirit. So pretty awesome. And he was just trying to push the bounds. He was trying to do something that you can't do in mainstream comics. And he owns the character, so he can tell the kind of stories he wants to. He can tell the anti-hero story that at the time wasn't popular. He can tell it in this crazy way that wouldn't have gotten past the like Marvel bullpens. But there's a lot of respect for this guy. Matt Wagner really did the independent thing well. You know, outside of like he's kind of up there with like I mean, he's not as successful, I would say, as Mike Mignola, but he's right there with that independent spirit. He was one of the first with those guys. Mignola with Frank Miller, Paul Chadwick, who did Concrete, J. O'Barr, The Crow. There's a lot of glare going on here. Yeah, so I did pick up, it'll probably be an unboxing. So check this out. This is Steve Rude. You guys know Steve Rude? Check out Steve Rude's YouTube channel. He does some live streaming. He's been upping his live streaming game, whereas he's just painting and answering questions in the chat. Check it out. Steve Rude on YouTube. It's a Steve Rude drawing of one of the versions of Grendel, the female version of Grendel. This is S.R. Bissett. He's also old-time artist. And Steve Bissett. John Toddlebon. I'm not super familiar with his stuff. And then this is one of the Pander brothers who, they drew the whole second story arc of Grendel. And that's the omnibus that I picked up, which I don't know when it's coming. But I really like their rendition of Grendel. And so it was cool that it's all in one omnibus. And then Tim Sale. You guys know Tim Sale? He drew on Grendel too. Pretty cool. Okay. Now you have my attention, Mr. Monkey Boy says. Mark's Music Obsession. He is on Pensacola Beach. Wow. Lucky dog, Maggie is. Hopefully it's cooler than what you were working in earlier today. Awesome One says comics were mostly about sci-fi and horror and detectives. Superheroes seem to turn many adults off as being silly. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, until like the 80s when you had like the very, very dark real stories of like The Dark Knight, Watchmen, all those, then people were like, whoa, this is not silly. But I think we've been trying to crawl out of that hole ever since. Come Back, an Awesome One is talking about garbage. What did I miss? Let's see. So the guy did a little drug smuggling. Big deal. Big deal. Why is he an anti-hero? Why are drug dealers anti-heroes? No big deal. Yeah, this is second print. Wow, you're on it. You must be a huge Grendel fan. That's awesome. Do you have all those omnibuses, Mr. Monkey Boy? There's like, I think 6 of them out now. And are you checking out his current Grendel? It looks good. The artwork looks good. I'm just going to wait until it gets compiled into a trade. But the artwork looked great in that. And I think his son, Matt Wagner's son, is now his colorist. So that's really cool that he kind of passed that on. This art is awful. Are you talking about Grendel or are you talking about my high school art or my middle school art? Because I can agree on one of those. Now I know why I never picked up these books. Dang. So maybe you're not talking about Mary. I kind of forgot about the Art Deco style page layouts in Grendel. Yeah, yeah. Christine's, yes, thank you, Mr. Monkey Boy 1969. That's right. His daughter. So I love the Panda Brothers rendition on that. And I do like the Hunter Rose story. I think those are my two favorite Grendel stories. Wasn't that into? I read the one where he was like a Terminator robot in space. It was interesting. The artwork was cool. Was it Devil's Reign? Maybe was that one. And there was another version of Grendel I wasn't that into. Yeah, so Hunter Rose and his daughter are my favorite ones. Brandon. That's why she called the town. She burned down, probably, speaking of dark things. Yes, Rocky, I dislike that Grendel art in this book. Oh, okay. All right. Awesome one. That's fair enough. I mean, I'd say this is old Matt Wagner art. He's gotten better. I like it, though. I like it because it's so different. It's dark. Yeah, I loved his design for Grendel. I even have the little toy of Grendel that I got a long time ago, but I loved his design. That mask was cool. I loved how that mask can be in different stories too. I really like that idea that Grendel isn't just one character. It can be multiple kind of stories. It like opens the door up for whatever he wants to do with Grendel, and I think that's genius as a storytelling device. Really? Don't like the artwork. Okay. Oh, cool. Back cover. Didn't see that. Yeah, Matt Wagner paint stuff too. All right. What else I got? Odyssey. Yes. Brandon Wagner. Thank you. Mr. Monkey Boy. He is... Should have known that Grendel was your thing. It's too bright, not dark. Maybe if it was in black and white. So I think he did redraw Devil by the Deed, or did a new version that they released recently, and I think he did all new artwork for that. I'll have to go look at that at the store, but I never picked that one up. All right, so is that it? I think that's all that I had. So tomorrow, Mr. Monkey says, looks like early Comic Craft color. Yeah. I was reading, I spent the weekend going through that Batman Year One Artist Edition, and in the introduction, David Mazzucchelli writes a whole thing, and he talks about the color process in depth, and it's so fascinating because his wife was the colorist, and she was a traditional painter. They went to school together. So good, she's such a good painter. But they were just talking about all the limitations they had in early comic book coloring and how she was leveraging those limitations and wanted to push it, maybe more painterly when they were doing Year One. They had to talk to the editor about getting this kind of paper, and it was all this like production stuff. But I love seeing in these older indie books how the process kind of dictated the choices they had to make artistically. It's not like they had every Crayola in the Crayola box with digital coloring, and they didn't have every resolution available to do super intricate artwork. Like sometimes the choices and the artistic choices that we take for granted, or that we look at as like, oh, that was just a stylistic thing, were because of the production process. And so that book, the Batman Year One Artist Edition, talks about some of that. I think I had commented when I first opened that book of like how Mazzucchelli's line was a lot more simplified from Batman Year One than it was on some of his earlier work, like Daredevil Born Again, and even earlier than that. Less rendered, less realistic. And he actually talks about it in the introduction. He was looking at simpler artists like Alex Toth, and there was another artist, for kind of stylistic touch points for what he was going to do with Batman. And he also wanted it to feel like a certain time period. But he also knew, because his wife was coloring on it, he didn't want the lines to get lost. And so he inked it in a way and almost in a simpler way, knowing that when she adds her paints, her colors, it was going to add another dimension to it. So he didn't have to do such heavy lifting with all the black and white art. So he took that as like, I could simplify it here. They wanted it to have this specific look of like a print, a type of printing process. I think a Japanese printing process. And so that had chunkier lines. So it's funny because you look at it and you're like, oh, that style for Batman Year One was so cool. How did he come up with it? And a lot of it was just like navigating the production loopholes that they had to deal with. So really fascinating. I feel like we lose a little bit of that with all the digital stuff that we have at our ready now. But I'm hoping to try and capture and learn about some of that myself as I do these master studies. Because that traditional, like, mark my word, and I know other people are saying this, like, that going back to that traditional is going to be huge, and it's going to be, I mean, that's what I want to appeal to. That's what I want to market to, is the people that love the traditional aspect of comics and love the original piece and can buy the original page down the road. Not just the book, but like the original artwork, that it's a piece of artwork for them, because that's how I enjoy comics. And I know there's other people out there who do enjoy that as well. So yeah, I'm going to lean in that direction as much as I can. And looking at these independent books reminds me of that. So that's why I pulled them out. It was originally black and white. Okay, cool. So then they added in the color. Was it for the second printing or the second edition, maybe? I guess Matt Wagner just keeps reinventing himself. John says, Emo Trash, you're failing at your derailing job. Maybe she's sketching. Maybe she's focusing on sketching. Maybe I just don't like the colors. Yeah, it's possible. It's very airbrushy. It is brighter than you would think for, it is brighter than what you would think for a dark book like Grendel. It's kind of like 80s. Speaking of 80s, we were talking about the 80s style. I was talking about earlier with Cranberry Langers. It does feel 80s. It's like you could feel like and actually I wouldn't be surprised, because the Panda Brothers said that they were influenced by Nagel, that artist Nagel, which was huge in the 80s. This feels like Nagel colors. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Alex Toth is so good. He's really good. Back then you had two choices: Word Color Press or Sparta. Oh, Mr. Monkey Boy 1969. Is that what Sparta is? Because I was looking at some of those pages from the Batman Year One Artist Edition, and some of them were like traditional or typical DC art boards. And then I think the covers, it said Sparta on it. I was like, what is Sparta? I just kept thinking of 300. Like, this is Sparta. That's all. I was like, what is that? So is that a printing press? Huh. All right, cool. Wow, you learned something new. Chat teaches you something new every day. Comrade Sammy drinking the Big Red. My shelves are almost done, by the way. Yay. All right, Comrade Sammy. Can you post a picture when you're done, please? That would be amazing. I'd love to see them when you're done. Big Red is better. Uh-oh. I was in North Carolina. When I tasted cheer wine, I thought it was a local thing. Never tried cheer wine. Sparta, Illinois. Oh, so it's just a press located in Illinois. Is it near where Adam is? Adam just told us he was from Illinois. So Sparta. Huh. Go figure. It's not some exotic location from Greece. It's in Illinois. Sparta. Cool. Comrade Sammy says, just need to glue the dowels into the wood and I'll be done. Finally. Wow. All right. So, yes, post a picture if you can, Comrade Sammy, of your finished shelves. I would love to see them. I think it would be so cool because we've been hearing about them so much. So I would love to see them. I just bought 2 new Billy IKEA bookshelves. Oh, those guys. Those are the standard IKEA shelves for comic books and toys. Love Cheer Wine. Surge Volt. Code Red drinker. 14 years ago, drank one. Oh my gosh. And you're still alive. South of St. Louis. All right. Goodness, Sparta, Illinois. Is it still around? Are they still printing? I wonder. So tomorrow's my Wednesday comics. I'm not sure what's out there. I think I got to go watch my streams of what's coming out. I think that new X-Men book, Plain X-Men #3 is coming out. That's the only one I saw that I thought of. Oh, maybe a new Rook Exodus is coming out tomorrow. So we'll find out. That I'm going to do tomorrow. And then the other thing is I have been ruminating on what the next master study is. I have 2 directions, 2 options. I will pick the option and then you guys will pick. Like I picked 3-ish pages out of both of those options to present to you. So you guys won't be picking the artists. I'll announce it tomorrow, but you will be helping me pick the page of what to do. I feel like that worked out so well last time. So happy with how it turned out. I posted it up on my bulletin board here in front of me, and it's cool to see the Zek page, the golden page, and what will soon be the 3rd page up there. So that will happen tomorrow. I could use your guys' help helping me to vote on which page to do. 2 very, very different directions. So yeah, it'll just going to be me in the last hour deciding which direction to go. But yeah, I'm super excited to start that tomorrow. And Mr. Monkey Boy says, nope, kaput. I guess Sparta is done with printing. That's too bad. There must be a reason. Wow, down to the address. There must be a reason what they were good at printing. Because if I'm not mistaken, I'll go back and look. I think it was just all the covers that were printed were presented on that Sparta paper. So there must be a reason why they decided to go that way. Must be a printing thing, a color thing or something for why they picked Sparta. All right, I think that is it. I think that's all I got. It was great. Thanks, you guys. If you haven't already, 2 things. Go watch the closer look video I just posted. We did a premiere watch party right before this stream. For those of you who joined, awesome having you there. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. I did the closer look on Uncanny X-Men #1 by Gail Simone and David Marquez. Had a lot of fun doing that. I haven't done a closer look in a long time, and it was great getting back into it. I've now renamed those streams. Instead of my Wednesday comic closer look, here's the date. Oops, here's the date. I called them my closer look, and I think that's what I'm rebranding those now, so it's easier to find. So my closer look, Uncanny X-Men #1. I just posted it before the stream. Please watch it, like it, subscribe it, share it. Let me know what you think in the comments. And then also, if you can, like and subscribe and comment and whatever, notify this stream. Check it out. We are at 313 subscribers. Woo! That happened really fast. You know, we hit 300 and then boom, 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 boom. We're at 313. So I'm so grateful, so excited for all the new subscribers here that have been watching or are watching. Thank you so much. I'm excited to get to know you all as well, for you guys to be regulars in the chat, like all these fine folks here. And yeah, just getting to know you, just sharing comics, finding out more information about comics from each other, just like Mr. Monkey Boy 1969, passing on the knowledge.
Say monkey in French?
About Sparta and the printing process and Grendel. I love it. I love kind of learning from you guys all. So, what do you mean do a poll? A poll about the page or the artist? I'm going to pick the artist, I think. Yeah, I'm going to pick the artist, but I will do a poll for the pages. You love polls. Awesome one. So yeah, anyway, that's the whole spiel. Thank you everybody that has been here. My name is Rocky Ballesteros, as the little bug here says. And I'm just so thankful to have you guys here on stream. I will catch you tomorrow on Wednesday, my Wednesday comics. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.